Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and in today's video I want to discuss a little bit about how you can adjust your cabinet doors if they've got these European style cabinet door hinges on them. There's a few different models or types of these hinges, but they all basically function about the same. So I've got a little bit of a mock-up here for you. You can see I've got, one style down here of this hinge, another style here. The plates that are attached to the cabinet side also, I've got a couple different styles. And I've got those very similar hinges loose here as well. So kind of what you're going to find on most European style hinges is you're going to find some type of screws along the arm here. Okay, so usually what will happen, actually it's probably easier if I show you up here where it's relative to a cabinet. Generally this screw that you'll find further into the cabinet here is going to be a screw that basically when you turn it, it's generally going to be a screw that it will adjust the door in and out. So what it does is, if you see this gap here, when I adjust that screw, it changes that size of that gap. And this is helpful. Sometimes, you close your doors and the bottom of the corner of the door is hitting the cabinet, but the top isn't. Maybe the door's warped or whatever. You've got to adjust those so the doors will sit nicely to each other. Okay, so normally this screw that's all the way further into the cabinet, that's what that screw does. Okay, sometimes, like on a hinge like this one, that one does that function, plus it actually is the screw when you loosen it. Oh, that one's tight. When you loosen that screw, you can see it's allowing the door to slide in and out, but also if you slide it far enough out, it will allow that hinge to come off from the cabinet. Okay, so that one kind of is multifunctioning. On this hinge at the top, there's actually a little button at the back that you squeeze that actually releases it from the bracket. Okay, but like I said, sometimes this rear screw has a couple of functions in this style of hinge. Okay, the more forward screw that you see, or the one that'll be closest to you outside, that one there, actually adjusts the hinge in and out this way. So it will tilt the door like this, side to side. So that one is the one you want to use to help align your doors. I've got a couple of doors back here, and I've purposely put them way out of whack, but you can see how, this door is kind of cranked like that. There's a huge gap up here. It's tight down here. They aren't flush to each other. So that screw there is what tilts those doors and helps you line up all your gaps and everything that you're going to see. Okay. Now, for the plates themselves, the plates here that attach to the gable, they attach to the gable of the cabinets on the inside so that the hinge can attach to them. There's a few different styles of those. Some of them just simply have slotted holes here so that when you put in your screws, you can loosen the screws off and you can slide that plate up and down, to adjust your doors up or down on the whole face of the cabinet. Other ones like this top one, they've actually got a screw that does that. So if you loosen your two hardware screws off, I'm not sure if I can do it when I've got the other one fixed, but let's just see. If I loosen those off and turn this, yeah, it's too difficult right now, but because I've got two different plates on. But if you turn that screw, it actually moves the hardware in the back to slide this plate up and down on the gable. Okay, so just a few different options when you're looking at your cabinets, and it's quite normal over time for these European hinges to come out of adjustment, especially on doors that you use every day. they will come out of adjustment and periodically need to be realigned. So that's your basic adjustments. Now as far as how the hinges attach to the doors, again, there's a few different options. Sometimes they'll just simply be screwed on like that one. It'll look something like this, okay? Or sometimes they're like this one, which is a friction fit type clamping mechanism. And it's all activated by this, the lever action of this cover here. So like on this one up here, if I get in here behind it, I can release that hinge from the door by flipping this open. And again, once I seat it in there properly and close that, it expands and it fits in there tight. Okay, so that's really the basics that you've got to kind of look for. And the only reason I kind of use this little model here is just to show you a couple of the most common ones that I see anyways. Now what I'd like to do is we're going to rearrange things and we're going to come over to this cabinet and I will show you how I adjust this screw out here to get the doors and the gaps on the doors lined up properly. So we'll reset the camera and we'll do that. Okay, so for most upper cabinets, such as this is, you're normally trying to, get your doors straight with the bottoms, tops, and the sides, just to get your spacing all correct. Now this cabinet, the middle shelf is actually sagging a bit, so I can't really line up with here, but I'm pretty good. I'm just looking at my gap here on the side. I'm pretty good, so I'm going to say that door is pretty close to where it should be. It might be this one that needs most of the adjustment, so we'll start with it. I can see over here, I've probably got a 1/4 inch of gap here from the edge of the door to the gable. And up here, the door is actually hanging past the gable. So I know that I've definitely got some, I need to tip this door left and right to get it lined up better. So I'm going to open the door and I'm using that very outward screw on the arm of the hinge to do the adjustments. So to start out with, because I've got a big space here and I'm really tight here, I'm going to take the bottom of the door and shift it to your left. Okay, so I'm just going to use the screwdriver in that outer screw and I'm turning, this would be clockwise. I'm turning that screw. I'm going to give it 2 or 3 cranks because this one's really out of whack. And I'm just going to have a look. Okay, well I'm getting better. I know I've got to get the top over, so I should be able to turn that one a few cranks counterclockwise. We just want to get ourselves somewhat in the ballpark. Well, we can see we're already getting better. My doors aren't quite lining up top and bottom though either yet, but my gap is getting much better and I'm getting a lot better over here. So everybody has a different opinion on what they want to see here. So just adjust your doors over to get this nice and even to the spacing that you want. Normally you need about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to be able to adjust both of these over. And again, I'm turning them counterclockwise, both of them, because I'm trying to push the door over that way. I can go over a little more. So I'm getting my center gap really close to what I want. But I'm still not quite getting flush between the 2 doors there. So I think I need to adjust this door just a little bit. So I'm going to start by, because this door is lower than this one, I need to kick this bottom over or the top. I need to either kick the bottom left or kick the top right, and it could be a combination of both to get that corner to actually come up. So I'm just going to give them both 1/8 of a turn or so and just see what we got. So we're really getting close there right now. I like this side gap. This side gap's a little bit off. And I'm a little bit bigger gap up here. So I think I can shift this over again, bottom left. And I'm going to give the top of this one to the right. So yeah, we're really quite good there. Sometimes it just helps us step back and have a little better look. I think we're pretty good. So we got the doors nice and straight to each other along the bottom. And we've got a nice even gap here. I'm not sure that you can see the side gaps, but I've got a nice 1/16 of an inch or so there, and the same thing there. So as you can see, sometimes it just takes a little bit of fiddling back and forth, and that fiddling can take some time. If you had a bank of 6, 7, 8 doors all side by side, you got to kind of start and work your way along, and sometimes you just got to find that happy medium. But it is very common on doors you use regularly that those hinges will come out of adjustment, and you're going to have to do a little bit of tweaking on them to make them work out. So I hope that kind of gave you a little bit of better insight on what all those screws are for on these type of hinges, and what you're kind of looking for when you're doing some adjustments. Now, I didn't have to adjust anything in or out because I've got a nice gap between the cabinet box and the back of the door, and my doors aren't rocking. They're sitting nice. My gap over there is nice too, but if I wanted to play with those, I'll just show you when one of these is really out of whack what happens. So what I did is I pushed the bottom of this door outwards towards you in the camera. So what's happening now is this whole door is not sitting flush across the face to the other one. And it's really floppy there because it's not actually against the cabinet down here. It is up there, it's pretty good, but down here it's got lots of wiggle. Okay, so that's that second, the farthest in screw. So we get that back to where it's close. There, it's good to go. So I think that pretty much covers it. Gives you the basics on what you need to be looking for. And now you can go to your own kitchen and get your doors looking better. Thanks for watching.